Call the council meeting to order tonight. We have a quorum present. Tonight will be led in the invocation by Chaplain Alan Holt from the VA Medical Center here in Sioux Falls. After the invocation, we'll have the Pledge of Allegiance. So at this time, I'd ask everybody to rise for the invocation.
Let us pray. Oh God, we thank you that as we come before this meeting tonight, we are asking for your guidance, and you've promised that you will guide us. We pray especially tonight for Dee Knutson and her family as they mourn the loss of her father. O God of consolation, console them this evening. As we as a community, we're grateful for those that are willing to serve their country. And as we consider ways to honor them that have served and have paid the ultimate price, guide us in that decision. May all the proceedings of this community be ones that are in the welfare, the best interest of all that live here, and are guided by your wisdom tonight. We ask this in your mighty and holy name. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, we'll start out. Is there a motion to approve the consent agenda?
So move,
Let's move. Is there a second?
Second, Kavanaugh.
Kavanaugh seconded. Further comments? Any other motions? See no other motions? All in favor of approving the consent agenda, vote yes. Those opposed, vote no.
Council members Benega,
Yes.
Brown,
Yes.
Costello,
Yes.
Jameson,
Yes.
Kavanaugh,
Yes.
Litz,
Yes.
Staggers.
Yes.
All members present have voted 7 yes, 1 excused. The consent agenda has been approved. Is there a motion to approve the regular agenda?
So move,
Let's move. Is there a second?
Second, Kavanaugh.
Kavanaugh seconded. Is there further motions?
Mr. Mayor,
Yes.
I have a motion to add 3 resolutions, which are annexations to the regular agenda, items 25, 26, and 27.
Second, Kavanaugh.
Kavanaugh seconded. 25, 26, and 27. Everybody understand that motion? All in favor of that motion will vote yes. Those opposed, vote no.
Council members Benega,
Yes.
Brown,
Yes.
Costello,
Yes.
Jameson,
Yes.
Kavanaugh, Litz,
Yes.
Staggers.
Yes.
All members present voted. That motion has been approved. 7 yes, 1 excused. Any other motions?
Mr. Mayor,
Yes.
I'd like to move Resolution 22 and 23 ahead in the agenda to right before item number 3, please.
Okay. Motion is by Benega to move items 22 and 23 to the top of the calendar above item 3. Is there a second to that motion?
Second, Brown.
Brown seconded. Further comments on that motion? Seeing no further comments, all in favor of that motion will vote yes. Those opposed, vote no.
Council members Benega,
Yes.
Brown,
Yes.
Costello,
Yes.
Jameson,
Yes.
Kavanaugh,
Yes.
Litz,
Yes.
Staggers.
Yes.
That motion is carried 7 yes, 1 excused. Items 22 and 23 will be moved above item 3. Is there further motions to come before? We've got a motion made and seconded to approve the regular agenda. No other motions? All in favor of approving the regular agenda as amended will vote yes. Those opposed, vote no. We've already got a motion. We've already done that. So we got a motion. We've got Litz and yeah, we did. So just
Okay. Council members Benega,
Yes.
Brown,
Yes.
Costello,
Yes.
Jameson,
Yes.
Kavanaugh,
Yes.
Litz,
Yes.
Staggers.
Yes.
All members present have voted. The regular agenda has been approved as amended, 7 yes, 1 excused. Now this is the time we set aside for public input. Anyone that wishes to address the council for a period of 5 minutes, we just ask that you come forward, give your name and your address, and then you may address the council. Does anybody wish to come forward? I see no one coming forward, so we'll move into the regular agenda. We have item number 22.
A resolution of the City of Sioux Falls, South Dakota, approving the placement of a sculpture located on city property for which it stands.
Mike Cooper, Planning and Building Services. This is a a recommendation to add a sculpture called For Which It Stands that would be placed in Falls Park. This is a sculpture that's being placed as part of the sculpture walk. This is the People's Choice Award, and we have funds within our CIP budget to purchase the annual People's Choice Award winner and then decide where that would be placed within a public area. This proposal has gone through the Visual Arts Commission review as well as the Park and Recreation Board review. The proposed location will be to the west of the Falls Park Visitor Center, adjacent to the existing flagpole. And yeah, the graphics that we have up on the screen are showing the proposed site for this. This sculpture, For Which It Stands, depicts two children that are looking up to the flag, and again, everybody believes that this would be an appropriate spot for this particular piece, and the recommendation is for your approval.
Questions of Mike? Kermit?
Yeah, Mike, how much is the city paying for the sculpture?
The approximate value proposed is $15,000, which is what we have in our CIP budget.
Further questions of Mike on item number 22? Others who wish to address the council on item number 22? If not, is there a motion to approve item 22?
Move for approval, Jamison.
Jamison moved. Is there a second?
Second, Litz.
Litz seconded. Further comments? See no further comments. All in favor of the motion to approve item 22, vote yes. Those opposed, vote no.
Council members Benega?
Yes.
Brown?
Yes.
Costello?
Yes.
Jameson?
Yes.
Kavanaugh? Litz?
Yes.
Staggers?
Yes.
All members present vote. Item 22 has been approved. 7 yes, 1 excused. Item 23.
A resolution of the City of Sioux Falls, South Dakota, approving the placement of a sculpture known as Going Home on city property.
This particular proposed sculpture has received a significant amount of public recognition, and the proposed location of this piece will be in the Veterans Memorial Park. The site that has been recommended for the placement of this piece has gone through a review by the Veterans Memorial Park Advisory Board, the Visual Arts Commission, as well as the Park and Recreation Board. The piece is proposed to be located in the north central part of the park, a very prominent location, and there's going to be a fundraising process that will continue to allow for the placement of this sculpture. The estimated cost is in the $140,000 to $150,000 range, and the anticipation is that this would be through donated funds. Again, all three of the advisory boards that have reviewed this believe that this is going to be a very special place, not only within the park, but also provide a very special recognition for the Rolfing family and for the community. Rex is here tonight with the family, and we believe that this is going to be a real special recognition, and we strongly encourage your approval of this proposal tonight.
Questions of Mike on item number 23? Others that wish to address the council on item 23? Rex?
I want to say just a couple of things. Number one, that we have set up through the Sioux Falls area Community Foundation to make this a 501c3 organization for people to donate to. So it's to the Sioux Falls Area Community Foundation, the Going Home Fund. If anyone would like to make a contribution, and we fully expect to have that funded very quickly. Hopefully we will. It's a beautiful, beautiful sculpture. Sandra Johnson is here tonight, the sculptor, and she's ready to get going on it. And we're hoping to get that going very quickly. Second thing I need to say is, I know I've written to the Argus and said thank you to the community, but I also need to say thank you to you. We've gone through some hoops, and that's good, because this is a good thing for the city, I think, but it's also a good thing to know that we're putting something out there that's of this quality, and something that will endure and that will really pay homage to the people that have paid the ultimate price, so that we have people like you that are willing to give of their time and their energy and their expertise to the city of Sioux Falls and to what a wonderful community Sioux Falls is. because you have no idea, not even you guys have no idea what the people of Sioux Falls gave to Margie and I and to our son TJ and to Tiffany when our son was killed in action in Iraq. You have no idea. And it was very moving for us. It always will be. And it's the reason we live in Sioux Falls. So thank you, City of Sioux Falls.
Thank you, Rex, very much.
And thank you.
Rex, would you just mind giving your address for the record, please?
4925 South Kalen Place, Sioux Falls.
Thank you very much. We appreciate it and appreciate all your efforts on behalf of something that's going to be truly a great piece for Sioux Falls, and thank you, the family. Others that wish to address the council on item number 23? Not. Is there a motion?
Move for approval, Benega.
Benega moved, Jamison seconded. The motion to approve. Is there further comments? No further comments. All in favor of that motion will vote yes. Those opposed vote no.
Council members Benega,
Yes.
Brown,
Yes.
Costello,
Yes.
Jameson,
Yes.
Kavanaugh.
Yes.
Litz.
Yes.
Staggers.
Yes.
All members present have voted. Item 23 has been approved, 7 yes, 1 excused. Thank you for being down here tonight with us. Okay, let's move to item number 3, I believe it is that right?
A new 2007 retail wine license for Crown Gaming Incorporated, Crown 41st Casino, to be operated at 2516 West 41st Street, including video lottery terminals. Item 4, new 2007-08 retail malt beverage license for TPR Inc. Pizza Ranch of Sioux Falls, to be operated at 2717 West 41st Street, with the conditional use permit being approved on 9/5/07, pending final inspections for fire, health, and building services. Item 5, a new 2007-08 retail malt beverage license for Mama Rita's LLC, Nucci's Italian Bistro, to be operated at 5005 Southwestern Avenue, Suite 190, with the conditional use permit being approved on 8/1/07. Item 6, a new 2008 retail wine license for Mama Rita's LLC, Nucci's Italian Bistro, to be operated at 5005 Southwestern Avenue, Suite 190, effective 1/1/08, with the conditional use permit being approved on 8/1/07. Item 7, a new 2007-08 retail malt beverage license for Larry M. Lang Michael Steakhouse, to be operated at 2501 West Russell Street, pending final inspections per fire and building services. Item 8, a new 2007 retail wine license for Larry M. Lang Michael Steakhouse, to be operated at 2501 West Russell Street, pending final inspections for fire and building services. Item 9, transfer of a 2007 retail liquor license from DCK LLC, Touche's 323 South Phillips Avenue, to DCK LLC David's, to be operated at 212 West 10th Street, including video lottery terminals and Sunday sales, approximately November 1st, 2007, or upon completion of final construction of the new location, pending final inspections for fire, health, and building services. Item 10, transfer of a 2007-08 retail malt beverage license from Flatiron LLC, Flatiron Grill and Pub, 5024 South Cliff Avenue, to MKSF Inc., Stubby's Bar and Grill, to be operated at 5024 South Cliff Avenue. Item 11, transfer of a 2007 retail wine license from Flatiron LLC, Flatiron Grill and Pub, 5024 South Cliff Avenue, to MKSF Inc., Stubby's Bar and Grill, to be operated at 5024 South Cliff Avenue. Item 12, a special one-day malt beverage and special one-day wine license request for Dr. Rose Faith, to be operated at the Museum of Visual Materials, 500 North Main Avenue, as follows in 2007. October 27th for dinner and dance, November 10th for wedding reception and dance, November 13th for social and dinner, and December 1st for a holiday party.
Thank you, Denise. Lori Bossman with the City Finance Office, and I can answer questions on items 3 through 12. And if you wish, you could vote with one vote on all the items.
Just a question, Lori, on number 7 and 8. Michael Steakhouse, that did close on Louise. Is it moving and starting operations again?
That's correct. They did close on Louise, and Puerto Vallarta moved into that location, and this would be a new location. The applicant is here tonight if you have questions for him.
Thank you.
Laura, can you refresh my memory on these liquor licenses? And under communications, we've got where they're requesting permission to consume beer and wine but not sell it. And then on number 12 is where I assume they are selling it. What, as far as it pertains to public facilities and private facilities, is there what?
Right. Well, the ones that are under the communications, the consume but not sell, the reason they can do that is there's no charge, but it does need to be at a publicly owned facility. And, or I'm sorry, it just needs to be with a nonprofit organization. The publicly owned is for liquor only. Okay. And then under item 12, for the 1 day that they've requested, that's because they will be having a cash bar and alcohol will be sold. And so when they're selling, then they do need to request the licenses. And again, a 1 day beer and 1 day wine can be requested by a nonprofit organization, civic, charitable, educational, or fraternal. And they can hold it at a location of their choice. It's just the liquor that needs to be at a publicly owned facility.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Further questions? Lori? Kevin?
Laurie, several of these have as I recall, they're conditional uses. They have alcoholic beverage as a accessory use to a restaurant, for example.
Correct.
When there is a transfer of the license, does that conditional use go along with the transfer?
Well, it depends on how the conditional use was originally approved. Many of them were approved for an applicant only, and in that case, they would need to come back through and reapply for a conditional use permit in the case of a transfer. But any new license that comes in that's a retail, whether it's retail liquor or retail malt beverage, retail wine, does have to go through the conditional use permit process first. That would be a requirement before I would even take in an application.
Thank you.
Further questions? Seeing none, others that wish to address the council on any items from 3 through 12? Seeing no one come forward, is there a motion to approve items 3 through 12?
Move to approve, Litz.
Litz moved, is there a second?
Second, Costello.
Costello seconded. Further comments on that motion? Seeing no further comments, all in favor of the motion to approve items 3 through 12 will vote yes, those opposed vote no.
Council members Benega?
Yes.
Brown?
Yes.
Costello?
Yes.
Jameson?
Yes.
Kavanaugh?
Yes.
Litz?
Yes.
Staggers?
Yes.
All members present voted 7 yes, 1 excused. Items 3 through 12 have been approved. Item 13.
Second reading, an ordinance of the City of Sioux Falls, South Dakota, amending the revised ordinances of the city by increasing taxi cab fares.
Hi, Deborah Gaikowski, Transit Planner with the City of Sioux Falls. I came before you in August with a taxi cab fare increase, which you approved. This ordinance is basically a correction to that. The cab fare drivers were needing to deal with pennies, and this rounds it up to the nearest dollar. So the first mile basically increases 4 cents. Each mile after that increases 2 cents.
Questions of Deborah on item 13. Kermit?
Yeah. Deb, what we're doing here is fixing the maximum fare that taxi drivers can charge in Sioux Falls. Has there been any discussion if there is a dramatic increase in oil prices that it might really hurt the taxi drivers if they cannot raise their prices? Is there any provision to...
Are you referring to gasoline prices?
Yes.
There is a surcharge schedule that's in place, so every time the gasoline goes up a certain amount, the cab company can request an increase.
Okay, so really these aren't maximum fares. We could actually have higher fares with the surcharge added, is that right?
Yes,
Okay.
only for gasoline prices.
Okay, thank you.
Correct.
Further, Bob, let's...
When the surcharges kick in, do they need to come back to the council, or is that a thing that you can handle?
No, that's something we handle. We have a schedule laid out, so if the gasoline prices go up a certain amount, then they get a certain amount increase.
Thank you, Deborah.
Further questions of Deb on item 13? Others that wish to address the council on item 13? Okay, come forward, give your name and address, please.
My name is Brent Kinsley. 911 North Dakota is my address. I own Yellow Cab in Sioux Falls. And I just, this is round two. It's been a slow train coming to get a rate increase. I wonder sometimes why we have to, I don't know, Deb, when I first talked to you, I think it was back in May, to get a rate increase on this. And then, by my mistake, it went from $1.80 a mile to $2 a mile. All right, $1.80 a mile was 20 cents a ninth. Well, the way I didn't, spell it out that it should be, when it goes to $2, it should be 20 cents a tenth. And it got wrote up as 22 cents a ninth, which is $1.98 a mile. I wish there was a more static way to increase or decrease, it probably won't decrease, but to go through all this, just, it's like McDonald's sells a hamburger. We're not down here asking how much to, you can only charge what the market will bear. I know that there has to be some oversight, but it's cumbersome to be down here to, talk about, like I said, this is slow train coming. All the drivers that work for me are employees. They get paid 45% commission. All the 45% of every dollar I bring in goes to them. This rate increase is for them. It's been 8 years. Thank the Lord that there is that we got the fuel surcharge. That helps me. That doesn't help the drivers. So I'm just, I wish there was some way, and I'm going to be shaking a tree to see if there's some way we can streamline the whole process. That because this is, like I said, we started talking in May, and it's just, it's slow. But God bless you. I appreciate anything y'all do, but I just wish there was just a little bit more streamlined way.
Why don't you continue to work with Deborah and see if there's ways you can do it?
I sure will.
If you can do that. Other questions? Go ahead, Kevin.
Yes. No, I empathize with what you're saying there because, the city is involved here in fixing prices. Like you mentioned, hamburgers. We don't fix prices for hamburgers in Sioux Falls, but they're fixing prices on yours. I guess one thing I would suggest is to try to encourage, the other taxi companies to get with the city and get rid of this ordinance and let you have a free market.
Yeah,
Don't worry, it works.
Yeah, as far as collaborating with, for lack of a better term, the enemy, they don't have my best interest in mind. They take it away from me. I understand what you're saying, and that's a valid point. But, and I want, and this is on the record too. I hate a whole bunch of oversight, but I'm going to tell you right now that some of these other companies are not playing above board. And that's, and I guess for lack of my attention to it, like you said, I can, start getting with Deb and with Lori Boss, but there is a lot of issues that are affecting my business and the way that the taxi business goes in this town. It's, right on down to, we should be transparent as far as, what's your tax ID number? Who's your insurance company? I think that, all the taxi companies should have to monthly show who they got for insurance companies because they change. I've been in it. I've owned the business for 20 years. I've been involved in it for 33 years. I've never changed horses in the middle of the year. I have an insurance company. I do my commitment. That's that. Thank the Lord, I've never been dropped. But some of these other companies have, and it's a lot of my concerns fall on deaf ears, and I think that it's the taxi riding public that is going to suffer when the bad thing happens. And like I said, I'm not down here to shake up the soup. I just wanted a chance to let you know that there is issues that are very important. So that's, I guess.
Okay, thank you. Other questions? Others that wish to address the council on item number 13? Not. Is there a motion?
Move for approval, Benninga.
Benninga moves. Is there a second?
Second, Jameson.
Jameson, second. Further comments on the motion to approve? Kermit?
Well, like I did the first time that we dealt with this issue, I voted against price fixing, and I continue to feel the same way, that the best way to get, the city off maybe your back and all these regulations and controls is, just simply advocate for the free market. And, sometimes it is difficult operating in the free market because there's a lot of competition out there. But ultimately, the consumers always benefit.
Okay, further comments? If not, all in favor of the motion to approve item 13 will vote yes. Those opposed, vote no.
Council members Benega?
Yes.
Brown?
Yes.
Costello?
Yes.
Jameson?
Yes.
Kavanaugh?
Yes.
Litz?
Yes.
Staggers?
No.
All members present voted 6 yes, 1 no, and 1 excused. Item 13 has been approved. Item 14.
First reading, an ordinance of the City of Sioux Falls, South Dakota, amending Appendix B, the zoning ordinance by adding land uses to commercial zoning districts. The Planning Commission recommends approval.
Again, Mike Cooper, Planning and Building Services. This is an amendment to our zoning ordinance that's being recommended by the Planning Commission. This would affect one of our neighborhood commercial, or what we call our neighborhood commercial zoning district. And this is the one that would typically have the most proximity to residential use, single-family or multifamily residential. That zoning district currently does not allow retail, trade, and services. And there has been inquiries from developers, property owners about allowing some limited retail in these areas. And so this amendment would allow retail, trade, and services up to 5,000 square feet, which is consistent with the office uses that are allowed in that same zoning district are allowed up to 5,000 square feet. And we are proposing to accept out restaurant because restaurants, from experience, could have impacts on the neighbors with odors or traffic, drop-off, delivery, and so forth. So we believe that this is a way to expand some services that might be desirable within some of our residential neighborhoods.
Questions of Mike on item 14? Go to 15.
First reading, major amendment, 2007-09-04, an ordinance of the City of Sioux Falls, South Dakota, amending Chapter 15.45.070 to allow for institutional medium-density offices, institutional medium-density offices, limited industrial uses, and high-density institutional commercial park. The Planning Commission recommends approval.
This is kind of what I hate to use the word, but it's housekeeping measure. The Beetle Greenway Plan Development District was established a number of years ago, and this particular property that's being discussed tonight is the old Beetle Park site. That property currently has, the east half is developed into a multifamily residential, and what we're doing is we're correcting or updating the legal descriptions within the Beetle Park PD by identifying all of this block with the allowed uses of high-density residential. So it's really more of an administrative correction to include all of this block. We are anticipating that at some point in the future there'll be another building on this property that will also be multifamily residential.
Questions of Mike? Go ahead, Kermit, and then Bob Litz.
Yeah, Mike, I've always wondered about this area. Did that used to be a city park, or?
Yes, it used to be Beetle Park, and it was, actually originally was the Beetle School, or Beetle Park, and what we did is we transferred through city action, open space over onto the Beetle Greenway area, and then that allowed this to become future development land. So at one time, this was a park site.
Mm-hmm. Okay, thank you.
Bob Litz.
When we talked about this last week, I guess I was a little curious because I drove by and I did see indeed there was room on there. Does the current apartment that's on there, does that have underground parking, Mike?
Yes.
Very good.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
Further questions? Mike on item 15. Let's go to 16.
First reading, major amendment, 2007-0908, an ordinance of the City of Sioux Falls, South Dakota, amending Chapter 15.45.070 to reduce the overall density of development in Heather Ridge 2 by reducing the size of sub-area B and increasing the size of sub-area A by the same amount. The Planning Commission recommends approval.
This is a portion of what we call Heather Ridge 2 Plan Development District. It is located along the east side of Western Avenue, north of 85th Street. The developer has petitioned the city to modify the sub-area regulations, and the portion that would be approved for medium-density, single-family, twin homes would be increased from approximately 5.7 to 11 acres, and the portion that's currently allowed for multifamily residential would be decreased from approximately 10.2 acres to about 7 acres. And again, this is coming from the developer's request to actually decrease the density within this development area. And
Questions of Mike on...
This is approximately 18 acres of land area that's being affected.
Okay, great. Thanks, Mike. Questions of Mike on item 16? Let's go to 17 then.
First reading, rezone 2007-0631, an ordinance of the City of Sioux Falls, South Dakota, rezoning property at West 77th Street and South Minnesota Avenue to construct multiple medical office buildings, and amending the official zoning map of the City of Sioux Falls. The Planning Commission recommends approval.
This property is just under 1.5 acres in size. It is located on the east side of South Minnesota Avenue and just north of 77th Street. The property was recently annexed. We've done a land use amendment, and now the zoning is being requested to change for the future office use.
Questions of Mike on 17? Let's go to 18.
First reading, rezone 2007-0834, an ordinance of the City of Sioux Falls, South Dakota, rezoning property at 41st Street and Grinnell Avenue to add 15 feet to the depth of the lot to construct a 134-unit townhome project in 2 phases on a portion of sub-area A, and amending the official zoning map of the City of Sioux Falls. The Planning Commission recommends approval.
This property is just under 1/2 of an acre. It is located on the north side of 41st Street, West 41st Street, and Grinnell Avenue is a street that's east of the T. Ellis Road intersection. This property has been approved for townhome development, and the developers, after the initial approval, discovered that there was an additional easement along 41st Street, a private utility easement, and so that's requiring them to shift their building project about 15 feet farther to the north. And so this amendment will allow for an additional 15-foot strip of land to be developed into the townhomes, and this is, as I said, about 1/2 of an acre total that's being impacted.
Questions of Mike on 18? 19?
First reading, rezone 2007-0912, an ordinance of the City of Sioux Falls, South Dakota, rezoning property at northeast corner of 73rd Street, Future, and South Cliff Avenue to rezone, allowing for a sports medicine training facility and possible future clinic, and amending the official zoning map of the City of Sioux Falls. The Planning Commission recommends approval.
This is approximately 2 acres of land area on the east side of Cliff Avenue, South Cliff Avenue, and north of 73rd Street. The applicant is Sanford Health, and they are proposing to develop this site into a sports medicine training facility, and also looking at other possible medical uses in the future.
Questions of Mike on 19? 20?
First reading, rezone 2007-0811, an ordinance of the City of Sioux Falls, South Dakota, rezoning property at North Dubuque Avenue and East 6th Street for future residential development, and amending the official zoning map of the City of Sioux Falls. The Planning Commission recommends approval.
This is approximately 38 acres of land area that's on the north side of East 6th Street, east of Dubuque Avenue. This property was recently annexed, and the city council has approved a land use amendment on the site. The applicant is petitioning for the rezoning that would include approximately 22 acres of single-family residential, approximately 11 acres of multifamily residential along 6th Street, and the balance of that will be open space. There is also proposed a approximately 5-acre neighborhood park site within this development.
Questions of Mike on item number 20. Bob Litz.
Mike, is the open area there, is that where the park is proposed to be?
Yes.
Is that wetlands now, or is it?
No, it is not.
A waterway? Okay, very good, thank you.
Other questions? Kevin?
So the open space is not actually abutting Dubuque, but it's behind,
Yes,
borders the houses abutting Dubuque.
Yes, there's a row of houses along the east side of Dubuque, and so the park will back up to that. And in also working with the developer, the park would front on the future Brennan Drive, and then there would also be a pedestrian access on the north side.
Thank you.
Other questions of Mike on item number 20.
I'm sorry. How big is the park?
It's just over 5 acres.
Thanks.
Further questions? None. Is there a motion to set the hearing date for items 14 through 20 for November 5th?
So moved, Litz.
Litz moved. Is there a second?
Second, Kavanaugh.
Kavanaugh seconded. All in favor of that motion to set the hearing date for November 5th for items 14 through 20 will vote yes. Those opposed vote no.
Council members Benega?
Yes.
Brown?
Yes.
Costello?
Yes.
Jameson?
Yes.
Kavanaugh?
Yes.
Litz?
Yes.
Staggers?
Yes.
All members present voted. Items 14 through 20. The hearing date has been set for November 5th. 7 yes, 1 excused. Let's move to item number 21.
A resolution declaring it necessary to levy and levying a front footage assessment against the lots, tracts, and parcels of land fronting and abutting upon 21st Street from Phillips Avenue to 7th Avenue in the city of Sioux Falls for the purpose of maintaining, planting, and otherwise improving and caring for the center parkways and boulevard thereon.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Don Kearney with Parks and Recreation Department. This levy would assess those properties abutting and fronting 21st Street from Phillips Avenue to 7th Avenue. The assessment's been in place since 1915, whereby the affected property owners initiated the assessment to allow for the care and maintenance and development of the medians. Since that time, on several occasions, they've supported increased assessments of their property for the care and improvement of these medians. And then that was most recently done in 1994, where they increased their assessments to 85 cents per front foot. The average assessment for all the property owners is $62. The assessment rate of 85 cents has not increased since 1998, and we are not aware of any complaints or concerns from those property owners being assessed. So with that, I'd answer any questions.
Questions of Don on item 21? Kevin?
Don, we have, as the city develops, we tend to have some of our newer streets, arterials in particular, with medians. And explain to me the difference between this median and medians in other parts of the city.
Well, obviously those medians are usually on arterial streets. They usually are probably bigger in width and scope. As far as the length of those goes. And typically you'll see that they're typically just consist of grass and trees. Normally we're not planting flowers or anything like that like we do in these medians that we're talking about on 21st. And the other piece of it is that normally we don't go in and aerate and fertilize and treat the broadleaf weeds like we would, or to the extent that we are on 21st Street.
And I hate to even ask, but is the assessment that we have on there now, does it cover the cost of the Parks Department employees going out and do this?
It does, for the most part. I will tell you that it fluctuates a little bit depending on, do we need to have trees sprayed or whatever, but by and large it does.
Thank you.
Vernon, did you? Okay. Others? Kermit?
Yeah, Don, is there any other area in the city where adjacent residents take care of city property like this by having additional taxes placed on them?
Not that I'm aware of.
Okay, thank you.
Other questions? Don? Others that wish to address the council on item number 21? Not, is there a motion to approve?
Move to approve, Litz.
Let's move. Is there a second?
Second, Kavanaugh.
Kavanaugh seconded. Further comments on the motion to approve?
Mr.
Go ahead.
Mayor? Yeah, I move to defer this. I move to defer item 21 to allow citizen input on item 21 in an October 29th special session of the City Council at 4 p.m.
Repeat that again, please. I'm sorry.
Yes. I move to defer item 21 to allow citizen input on item 21 at an October 29th special session of the City Council at 4 p.m.
Special session that you have at 4 o'clock?
Yes.
Okay. Everybody understand that motion that's been made? Is there a second?
I'll second for discussion, but I have some questions.
Okay, go ahead. It's been seconded then.
Okay. The residents on 21st Street are paying a special tax that no other residents in the city pay. Since I've been on the council, we have never contacted residents on 21st Street to get their input on whether they want to continue paying this additional tax. By deferring this, it is, I think, a good way to try to get citizen input on this issue.
Okay. Is your motion now, when you have the special session on the 29th at 4 o'clock, would it be to hear testimony and then to vote on it that time then, or just hear testimony?
Well, no, to defer the whole thing, so then we would vote on the 29th.
You'd vote at the 4 o'clock session, and you'd vote on it at that time?
The reason for that is because Gary has mentioned that we have to have this taken care of by November 1st.
Right.
And right now, it appears we will have a regular informational meeting on the 29th. So what we could do is we could have this at 4 o'clock, and then after that have the informational meeting. We've done this just in the recent past where somebody was concerned about a liquor license or whatever. We had a special session, so.
So you, as the maker of the motion, so everybody knows, you'd want to have the testimony on the 29th and the vote on the 29th at 4 p.m.?
Yes.
Okay, so everybody
right,
understands
yes.
that's the motion. And the second motion, maker understands. Okay, Bob.
My question is, it takes 6 council people to schedule a special session, or the mayor can call that. If that is the case, does the 29th give adequate time for the paperwork to get to the county by November 1st to get it on the assessment rolls?
Well, that would depend on the effective date, because we don't send our paperwork to the county until the effective date.
What is the effective date now when that passes? Does that have to go to the newsprint and then have through that process, or?
I believe that we will have, if it's acted on tonight, it will be to the county by November 1st. Am I correct in that, Denise?
Actually, the effective date for the items for tonight is the 8th.
No, but state law requires that all special assessments have to be to the clerk's office by November 1st because that's when the tax date is set. This is one of those special ones where we send the assessment to the clerk's office to comply with the November 1st date. So that is critical. I did check with the clerk, with the register of, with the county auditor's office when I got back to the office at 5 o'clock, and they said if it was not in their hands by November 1st, the effective date would be January 1, 2009.
And in that case, you would miss the assessment for the coming year?
That's correct.
Just so we have that clear.
Other questions? We got a motion to amend, Kevin?
Well, I won't be supporting the motion simply because of this. I think it's been established that this is an annual assessment that is requested by the landowners, the adjoining property owners. There have never been any widespread dissatisfaction with this. As far as going out and asking people every year, nobody ever asks me if I want to take a look at my property taxes. They don't ask for. We have public hearings and we give notice. If there was a concern, I would suspect there would be people here tonight to talk about it. So,
My question is for the city attorney or even Denise. What are the costs associated with a special session?
The last time a special session was called, I believe it was, I want to say $150, but I may be wrong.
Didn't that organization pay that $150?
Yes.
For that?
Yes, sir.
Okay, we've got a substitute motion before us to defer item 21 until October 29th. At that time, we'd have a special session with the intent of voting on it, and what you would need to do that, you need 6 votes to get this on for a special session on the 29th. Go ahead.
Yeah, I suspect the reason we don't have anybody here tonight is because they simply didn't know we were dealing with this issue. I was out of town at a academic conference for the past several days, and when I got back late last night, I looked on the internet and I saw this was up, so I was even surprised. So I guess the reason we don't have anybody here tonight probably is because they don't even know what's going on. The last time that we dealt with this issue, there was an elderly couple that happened to be here, and they did express discontent with this special tax on them.
Pat. So I just want to be clear that whether we were to pass it tonight or if we were to defer it until the 29th, it would be adequate time?
In my opinion, yes.
Bob Litz.
I recall having the same discussion last year about this time, and in my mind, Dr. Staggers has had a full year to get some support for his idea.
If I could respond, next year we'll also probably be dealing with this. Bob, can you give me the date for next year then when we're going to deal with this?
No Dr. Staggers, but I'm certain if I investigated it, it would be readily available.
Okay, if you could let me know in the near future.
We got a substitute motion before us, and to pass a substitute motion to get this on the October 29th, it's going to take 6 votes, so we've got 6 votes to get this on. Further comments?
Can I clarify that this, even if it did pass, which there's some concern about, this would not become effective until 2009?
If the council did not act on this resolution in sufficient time to have it certified to the county auditor by November 1st, if it arrived after November 1st, then the effective date would be 2009.
Oh, thank you.
Further comments on the substitute motion to amend? No further discussion. All in favor of the motion to amend will vote yes. Those opposed will vote no. To defer, excuse me.
Councilmember Benega.
No.
Councilmember Brown.
No.
Councilmember Costello.
Yes.
Councilmember Jameson.
No.
Councilmember Kavanaugh.
No.
Councilmember Litz.
No.
Councilmember Staggers.
Yes.
All members present voted 5 no and 2 yes and 1 excuse, so that motion fails. We're back to the main motion of Litz and Kavanaugh to approve item 21. Is there further comments on that motion? Seeing none, all in favor of approving item 21 will vote yes. Those opposed vote no.
Councilmembers Benega.
Yes.
Brown.
Yes.
Costello.
Yes.
Jameson.
Yes.
Kavanaugh.
Yes.
Litz.
Yes.
Staggers.
No.
All members present voted. Item 21 has been approved 6 yes, 1 no, and 1 excused. Let's see, item 24.
A resolution prohibiting smoking at the Great Plains Zoo and Delbridge Museum.
Good evening, Mayor, council members. I'm Elizabeth Whaley from the Great Plains Zoo and Delbridge Museum of Natural History, and we're requesting that you pass a resolution banning smoking in the public areas of the zoo. This request has come from the management of the zoo, the Zoological Society Board of Directors, and has been approved by the Parks and Recreation Board. And I think it would accomplish a number of things. First and foremost, enhancing the guest experience, the visitor experience at the zoo. But from a management standpoint, it will also help us with trash control. It will help us not only provide that great visitor experience for our guests, but also a better experience for our animals, our employees, and our volunteers.
Questions of Elizabeth? Kermit?
Yeah, you mentioned the public areas, Elizabeth. Is there going to be a location where employees can smoke at the zoo or not?
We will plan to have a small area behind the museum that is a paved area that will be set aside for employees. But in the public areas of the zoo, we would like to have no smoking at all.
Other questions of Elizabeth? Bob Jameson.
Not necessarily for Elizabeth, but we have an ordinance, I believe, on city buildings, no smoking, but that's the buildings only and not the property surrounding them. Is that correct?
I think that's right.
Okay, thank you.
Further questions of Elizabeth? Thank you, Elizabeth. Others who wish to address the council on item 24? Not? Is there a motion to approve?
Move for approval, Jamison.
Jamison moved. Is there a second?
Kavanaugh.
Kavanaugh seconded. Further comments? Bob Lutz.
I guess I'm kind of perplexed about the seeming contradiction. And if we're going to have no smoking, it should be no smoking, and that includes employees. Thank you.
Further comments? We've got a motion before us to approve item 24. See no further comments. All in favor of the motion to approve, vote yes. Those opposed, vote no.
Councilmembers Benega?
Yes.
Brown?
Yes.
Costello?
Yes.
Jameson?
Yes.
Kavanaugh?
Yes.
Litz?
Yes.
Staggers?
Yes.
All members present voted 7 yes, 1 excused. Item 24 has been approved. Item 25.
A resolution including certain contiguous territory within the corporate limits of the city of Sioux Falls, South Dakota, annexation 2007-1001, northwest corner of 69th Street and Southeastern Avenue.
Tonight, we have 3 petitions for annexation that have been added to the agenda. And I just want to kind of go through some general comments before we talk about these individually. The staff has been working with the applicant, Ted Toms, on this property for quite some time. And this is really a follow-up to an earlier discussion that we had on a proposed annexation, followed by a policy that was adopted by the City Council with a recommendation from the IRAB board on a lift station policy. The proposed annexations that are being presented tonight are consistent with the lift station policy, and I'll just talk a little bit more about that. But in general, the comments that we've included within the resolution for all 3 of these, the property has been properly described and is contiguous to the city limits. The proposed land uses and densities are not currently within the 2015 growth area. A future land use plan amendment to the 2015 plan would be required to add this area, which is consistent with other annexations that we've done in the past. And then number 3, that there will be adequate provision for municipal utilities and access to the street network when the following 3 items occur. Adjacent portions of Southeastern Avenue and 69th Street are improved to a paved street section. A 16-inch water main for the area is included within the city's CIP, and the developer works to construct a sanitary sewer connection from 57th and Sycamore Avenue. And this is also consistent with other annexations where we've laid out the parameters, and the developer, upon annexation and subsequent zoning approval, would then start the petition process to begin requesting street and utility improvements. So the comments that we've included are consistent with other annexations that you have seen in the past. The big difference between what's being presented tonight and what has been discussed in the past is that these 3 parcels, which will equal about 155 acres of land, can all be sewered without a lift station. We do have the capacity to expand or to add these 3 parcels within our existing sanitary sewer system without the requirement for a lift station. So that's a significant difference from the previous discussion that we had with Mr. Toms. So with that, the first of the 3 petitions includes the area that's shown in yellow that would be on the north side of 69th west of Southeastern, and this is approximately 91 acres in size.
Questions of Mike on item 25? Bob Litz.
I want it known that I'm very much in favor of this, but I do have 2 questions. Earlier conversations included park and the railroad overpass there. Where's the city at with the railroad overpass in particular?
At least the city staff is still working towards wanting to have a proposal in the future for an overpass. It hasn't been designed, or there's been some preliminary design work. We would still like to work with the property owners on both sides of the railroad to provide for a future overpass. As far as a neighborhood park site, in our 2015 plan, since it doesn't go out this far, we have talked about a possible future neighborhood park site. We haven't pinned down specifically how that would be incorporated into these areas, but as the applicant comes through in the future for the land use amendments and the zoning, I expect that we'll have some additional discussions about looking at some future neighborhood open spaces.
Very good. Thanks, Mike.
Kermit.
Yeah, Mike, we've talked about this before. I think last week when we had a meeting about that park that was $175,000 worth of land being given up by a developer for this park. And now you just happen to mention, well, in the future, we're going to be doing some other permitting, and the developer's going to be having extra requests and so forth. And at that time, we're going to be talking about maybe land donation and things like that?
Yes,
I'm concerned about linkage here.
The issue that you described earlier was up in the northeast area that
That's
we
right.
considered tonight.
But I'm concerned now that we're talking about possible linkage, approval of something, and then land, and I'm very concerned about that.
Well, this has gone through the same review process that the previous one did. It's really a four-step process. The first step is the annexation. The second step is the land use amendment. The third step then is the zoning, and then the subdivision plan. So we're not treating this any different than we would treat other annexation areas.
That's what I'm concerned about, because in the past, I'm very concerned that there might be undue pressure on developers to give up something in return for approval. And so I get very concerned when I hear those kind of issues in the same sentence about.
The reason that we work with developers on those neighborhood park sites is because as we've developed the 2015 plan, and it's a policy plan that was adopted by the City Council, the goal in that plan, as approved, was to have a neighborhood park typically within about a half a mile of any residential area. So that's the guideline that we've been trying to follow since that plan was adopted.
Further questions of Mike on item number 25? Pat?
Mike, I have a question for Ted, actually. The owners on here, as well as Fargo as trustee, do you have a purchase agreement? Is that on the property?
Yes. Further questions? Others that wish to address the council on item number 25? Go ahead.
The only question I have, Mike, and maybe you can do some research and let us know, is there any kind of an agreement with the railroad, either written or oral or whatever, in reference to how many overpasses we have to have over the railroad?
There was a plan that was put together back in 2001, I believe, that did get reviewed by the City Council that showed a four-phase, actually, long-range plan. The first phase was the downtown area that was part of the Phillips to the Falls relocation. The second and third phases we're currently working on, which is to relocate the switching yard out of downtown and then build it out by East Rice Street. And the fourth phase was to identify future overpasses such as 14th Street, 26th Street, 57th, and 69th. So that is a plan of a long-range plan that we've been looking at for, well, I think since 2001 is when we had that completed.
Do we have a cost estimate on what those railroad overpasses are going to cost us over a period of time?
We could look at the one that we're building now on 57th Street that would maybe give us at least a general indication. I don't remember what that cost is, but we can get that to you.
Thank you.
Litz.
Along with those that you mentioned, Mike, would 85th Street have an overpass as well as Highway 100?
I would, yes. I think when that 2001 plan was done, we didn't show 85th Street within our projected growth area, so it wasn't specifically identified in that railroad plan. But I would expect that as the city grows out into that area, at some time that would be another area that we would look at.
Very good, thank you.
Kermit?
Yeah, Mike, during the information, we mentioned this lift station policy. I just want to clarify. Right now, with this developer, you're not anticipating then we'll ever have to implement this lift policy station with that developer, is that right, as he develops the rest of the land?
Yeah, the 3 parcels that we're considering tonight would not require a lift station.
But the additional property that wants to be developed?
Yes, there's additional property beyond this that this developer and others would potentially bring in, that we would be looking at other improvements to our sewer system to accommodate that development.
So once again, this other land will not be, that the developer will want to develop in the future. We're not anticipating then implementing the lift station policy, because by that time, then we will probably have some sewer down there, is that?
That's what we're looking at, yeah. I'll say beyond the next 5 to 7 year period.
Okay.
Other questions, Mike, on item number 25? Others wish to address the council? Is there a motion to approve?
Move to approve, Litz.
Litz moved. Is there a second?
Second, Jamison.
Jamison seconded. Further comments on the motion to approve item 25? Seeing none, all in favor of that motion will vote yes. Those opposed will vote no.
Council members Benega?
Yes.
Brown?
Yes.
Costello?
Yes.
Jameson?
Yes.
Kavanaugh?
Yes.
Litz?
Yes.
Staggers?
Yes.
All members present voted 7 yes, 1 excused. Item 25 has been approved. Item 26.
A resolution including certain contiguous territory within the corporate limits of the city of Sioux Falls, South Dakota, annexation 2007-1002, southwest corner of 69th Street and Southeastern Avenue.
This is located on the south side of 69th and west of Sycamore, east of the railroad tracks. This is approximately 39 acres in size that we're recommending for approval.
Questions of Mike on item 26? Others that wish to address the council on item 26? Is there a motion?
Move to approve, Costello.
Second, Kavanaugh.
Costello moved. Kavanaugh seconded. Further comments on that motion? Seeing none, all in favor of that motion will vote yes. Those opposed vote no.
Council members Benega?
Yes.
Brown?
Yes.
Costello?
Yes.
Jameson?
Yes.
Kavanaugh?
Yes.
Litz?
Yes.
Staggers?
Yes.
All members present voted. Item 26 has been approved. Item 27.
A resolution including certain contiguous territory within the corporate limits of the city of Sioux Falls, South Dakota, annexation 2007-1003 at the southeast corner of 69th Street and Southeastern Avenue.
This parcel is approximately 25 acres in the southeast corner of the intersection of 69th and Southeastern. Staff is also recommending approval of this. And I would just comment that on these exhibits we're showing, there's 2 additional parcels that we're showing as other pending annexations. So not only are we getting inquiries from Mr. Toms, but there's other landowners in the area that we're currently working with on an expansion of the city limit boundaries.
Questions of Mike? Others that wish to address the council on item number 27? Is there a motion to approve?
Move to approve, Litz.
Litz moved. Is there a second?
Second, Jamison.
Jameson seconded. Further comments on that motion to approve? Seeing no further comments, all in favor of the motion to approve, vote yes. Those opposed, vote no.
Council members Benega?
Yes.
Brown?
Yes.
Costello?
Yes.
Jameson?
Yes.
Kavanaugh?
Yes.
Litz?
Yes.
Staggers?
Yes.
All members present have voted. Item 27 has been approved. 7 yes, 1 excused. Is there a motion to adjourn?
So move, Litz.
Let's move. Second.
Costello.
Costello seconded. All in favor of the motion to adjourn, vote yes. Those opposed, vote no.
Council members Benega?
Yes.
Brown?
Yes.
Costello?
Yes.
Jameson?
Yes.
Kavanaugh?
Yes.
Litz?
Yes.
Staggers?
Yes.
We are adjourned.